Good morning. So what are your thoughts on carb cycling? So for those that don't know, carb cycling is where you'd have some days that are higher carb days, so you'd eat more carbohydrates, and some days where you would eat lower carbohydrates. Now, the key thing to consider of this is why you would want to do it. And I always ask why, because it's not about saying, no, that's rubbish, that's great. But actually it's why you'd want to do it. And it might be for a variety of reasons, like whether that's social side of things, so you can have days where you eat higher carbohydrates and that's a part of the plan. Psychological, for example, you might just go about your week trying to be really strict and you know that maybe lower carb helps you control your calories better. However, then you eat some carbs and you have a meal out, whatever, then you end up overeating, then you think I've failed. And actually this allows you to fit it into your plan. You might also find that having carbohydrates on workout days gives you a bit more energy. If you have a higher carb lunch and you train in the afternoon, evening, that might help breakfast and you train later on. If that helps your recovery as well, because carbohydrates are protein sparing, which means the protein is more likely to go to recovery. There are benefits in that. And you might find it easier to hit a calorie deficit over the week by having some days that are lower carb, but you know it's not forever. So that allows you to help your calories a bit. There are a few things, like some people we find get a bit carried away with it, saying that there's loads of reasons behind it, like how it shocks your body, it tricks your metabolism. It doesn't do that. Your body is aware of what you're doing. It will cope with what you have in. It's calories that are king. But if this way of eating helps you stick to a calorie deficit, then that's fine. And this is what I want to stress to this. And you might find that overall, it on your workout days, maybe you have a little bit more carbohydrate and a little bit lower fat to balance out the calories still. And this is where I think we can learn a lot from. Like often people say, should I go low fat? Should I go high carb? Well, actually, the protein is the key one here. And I know I always come back to this, but are you eating 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight of protein? Roughly. Or trying to get protein with every meal. If you're struggling with that, I would focus that first. Then your carbs and fats can make up how you want. If you find that you feel better on a lower carb diet most of the time, like I do, I feel quite good on a lower carb diet. However, like that's concentration wise, that's probably mood wise, sleep wise, everything on that. And by lower, I don't mean zero, but more on that another day. But I know that my training is better fueled with carbohydrates. So it's like maybe on certain days where I do a bit more vigorous exercise, I'll have a bit more carbohydrate to help me. But as a result of that, to control my calorie intake, I'll lower my fat intake a little bit. And that's a way of keeping your calories in check without going, I've got to go high carb, I've got to go low fat, there's actually a balance in between. And it's all about low or high rather than high versus low. I hope that gives you a better idea, but it is very context specific. And I'm not saying it can't work, and I'm saying it can work, to be honest. And it's all about fitting it to your lifestyle. Good morning, Karen. That's the key part. So that's carb cycling in a nutshell. It's not a magic trick, but again, like anything, like fasting, like whatever, not eating after 7 p.m. It's a rule that might help you. So if you train 2-3 times a week and you say, right, 3 days a week, I'm going to have an extra carb portion and lower my fat on those days a little bit. On the other days, I'll have more moderate and less carb portion at that meal. That's fine too. And that might be a way of giving you the balance, the variation in your diet, but also the fuel to work out, which means you train harder, which means you get the benefits of resistance exercise, the benefits of building muscle, which might also help with fat loss, as we're beginning to find out more on that research review another day. Something quite new out actually, which a lot of people understand as like, I turned my fat into muscle. That's not true, but muscle could play more of it doesn't turn into it, you lose it and you gain it. But there seems to be some mechanism that does help with fat loss more than we thought. More on that later, as I haven't actually digested, pun intended, the study and the research review yet. And it is only hypothetical, because we don't know for sure how this works yet. But however, I've just been on a tangent. And another tangent, we've got our 28-day kickstart beginning next week. If you want more information on that, women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, coming in, want to get fit, have fun, good environment, specific for you, so we can have a look at whether carb cycling would work for you, what would work for your nutrition, what would work for your training, your exercise, but ultimately doing the things that you know you need to do, even if you're lacking on time, even if you failed before, even if you're worried about going to a gym. We get it. A lot of people were when they started too. Any questions, let me know. If you want more information on that, comment below of Kickstart. Have a great day. Enjoy your carb cycling.